Hey folks, Matt here, and once again, I'm here with Eric, Mr. Eric Bloom.
What's up, folks?
Not from Blue Öyster Cult,
Yeah.
as we've said a
Many
couple times
well,
now.
I've been doing that my whole life, almost explaining that I'm not him.
That's true.
I do like that band, though. I love Blue Öyster Cult.
Indeed.
Well, who knows? Well, actually, Matt knows them, so I can't recommend them in this kind of video.
Right, yeah. So anyways, as we always do on the show, my guest co-host is going to show me 10 metal records on the vinyl format that I don't know anything about. And he's going to talk about them a little bit. We're going to show them. And then later in this episode, I'm going to come back after I've heard them and tell you what I think about them.
Yeah, give us assessment.
Yeah. So good time. Stick around. So Eric, welcome back to the show.
Oh, yeah. No.
And by the way, this episode is brought to you by the letter D.
Yes, because I have a Dismember shirt on for like a flooring stream. Matt's got Def Leppard.
Def Leppard. It's a brand new shirt. I have to wear it.
And we usually have some of my T-shirts up showcase in the back, and a couple of them are D bands as well.
Right.
Demi Lich and Dark Angel.
Yep.
So he was right. Letter D.
Letter D. Anyways, that nonsense aside, let's see some records.
We'll get on to the records, and as usual, I do it in alphabetical order. So we'll start off with the letter C. And another thing I wanted to do is I wanted to showcase a couple of local bands for the New England area.
Right.
And the first one up is a band called Churchburn from the Providence, Rhode Island area, and it features members of former members of Vital Remains and Sin of Angels and Head Rot and other Rhode Islandish bands. But this is like a sludgy death doom with the vocals that Dave Suzuki does is almost like black metalish, but it's really, really good.
Suzuki, that's like the motorcycles.
Yeah, somewhat.
Right.
Yep. He's the former drummer and guitarist and singer. Well, I think he only did like backing vocals for Vital Remains.
Cool.
But yeah.
A lot of people have been in Vital.
And then Churchburn has 3 releases. I believe the first one is just like a compilation of like the earlier like demos and EPs. And then there was a full length, and then this is the second full length. This is called Genocidal Right. As you can see, there's no logo on the front, on the back. You can see it's just regular. There's no like flair to it. It's just easy to read.
No flair, kids.
Yeah, and it's got this little like deathy thing down here with skulls and the Omega symbol.
Yep.
And
it's spot varnish.
And then I know it's a colored variant.
No surprises this time.
Yeah,
right?
I checked this time.
Sure.
So we got the insert here with credits and pictures of the band members.
Yep.
In the back is the lyrics. And actually, they have a song called Sin of Angels. I thought it might be like a cover of a song from the former band, but it's not. It's an actual track from
Interesting.
Churchburn.
Because you would think.
Yeah, that's why I searched it to see. But actually, track 6 was by a former band called Rancid Christ. It says here in the credits.
Okay.
It's another older local band that members were in. And then here's the variant. It's like a cool little splattery, like it's almost like a magenta and black and white splattery, especially on that side.
It's nice. I like when they're very different on each side.
And it's got the band's logo and the little bit of pile of skulls on the bottom.
Cool.
Yeah. And it's a 45 as opposed to a 33 because there's only 6 tracks on it.
Any favorites on it?
Yeah, favorites are Swallowed by Dust and Scarred. Those 2 tracks. But they're all good tracks. You know, they're doomy.
Cool.
But I think it might get fast at some moments, but for the most part it's a slower variety of deathy doom. You know, it's death doom.
Cool. I love the death doom.
Churchburn, I figured Matt would like to hear that. It's probably different. You know, but I think the hardest thing you'll get into it, because I know you're not the biggest black metal fan, is the vocals.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
All right. Cool. Churchburn. Okay, earlier we said that this video is sponsored by the letter D. Well, I had to include a D band, and this is Florida's Druid Lord with their most recent full length called Relics of the Dead.
I have heard of Druid Lord, but I haven't heard them amazingly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is their 3rd full length.
Right.
I have the other 2. This is the only one I have on vinyl.
Yep.
The other 2 I have on CD. I have this on CD too, and then I was like, I got to get it on vinyl too.
I love the artwork.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Anything that looks like that, I'm tempted to buy it. I'm not really sure who the artist is though.
It looks Big like Trouble in Little China kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And you got the figure over here with the staff, the skull staff. And on the back cover is the track listings and a close up of the spooky skull thingy thing.
I love the color
And
theme.
And it's
A
on
lot.
Hell's Headbangers.
Great
And
label.
then it's one. I think it's one. Yeah, there's a few gatefolds today. So this is the first one. It opens up and it's got the band picture and some artwork, which is fucking rad.
Nice.
I like the shield thing
Yeah.
on there with the DL.
Yeah, some thought went into art design here.
Seriously.
Yep.
And the former members of Acheron.
Yep.
I know that.
Tony Black, I
Tony
recognize the
Black
name
and
there.
Pete Slate.
Yep.
Yeah, they'd both been in. And I think another band that the members were called Equinox, but that was more of almost a thrashy traditional band from Florida. And then comes with an insert.
Nice.
That has the skull staffy dude on one side.
Nice.
And then on the other side, it's got lyrics.
Yep.
And like you said, it's got the great color scheme, the real green, and
blue, yellow.
Yeah, exactly.
White.
And the album is a colored variant as well. It's like a greenish bluish smurge. I think they call it.
Because it's weird when you get a record like this with that color scheme, then you pull the record out and it's orange.
Yeah, that would make no sense.
Why is it orange?
And this has the title of the album on one side, and it has all the tracks on one side, and on the other side it has a cool little skeleton-y things.
Nice.
Which is rad.
Yep.
But yeah, this is one of my. I think it came out last year, 2022.
Cool.
And it was one of my faves from last year.
Favorites?
Death Doom.
Let's see some favorites.
Oh, favorites?
Yep.
The title track, Relics of the Dead.
Okay.
Mangled as the Hideous Feed. It's such a great title.
Great title.
So title. Immolated into ashes and festering tombs.
Great.
But it's not a bad track. I mean, I believe there's at least one track that's like maybe a minute or two long.
Mm-hmm.
I forget which one it is.
Yeah.
But for the most part, all the songs are really rad.
Great.
Great Death Doom. I can't recommend Druid Lord more.
Nice.
Absolutely. Cool. Every once in a while, I can find an older album that I can recommend for Matt. And actually, this is a newer one for my collection too. I just got it recently, but I've heard it like online and stuff like that before I was able to get a copy. Yep. This is Hydra Vein with Rather Death Than False of Faith.
Great title.
I know, it's from 1988. It's a British thrash band, UK.
I have heard of them. I've even heard of this record. I've never heard it. And I've seen it reissued, but this is not a reissue.
No, this is original. Right. I found an original copy. It cost a little bit of money, but I was like, you know what? I don't care. I want it.
That's the thing.
You know? I believe they have one other album from back then, and I don't know if they were like any other, like a lot of the bands that reformed many years later. They might have. I'm not positive.
Okay.
But this is their first vinyl, first release, first debut album. And here's the back, and it's on Mean Machine Records out in New York.
Yeah.
I think they were on a different label, though. The UK release. This is the US variant.
Yep.
And then it's such a strange figure. It's like the way his face is. It's like it's almost like a frog dude. Yeah. With a big scythe and the crazy. It's almost
Grim Frogger.
Yeah, he's kind of Medusa-ish because he's got the snakes for hair.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Well, it's Hydra.
Sure.
And I believe Medusa is considered it's a Gorgon, but
right.
And then it's classic black.
Yep.
And the version I got is an old radio copy, as if you can see on the labels on both sides. It says in Black Magic
FM
91. But I don't know
who
knows what station. It could be from anywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah. I don't know if it's from the New England area. Or
anyone who remembers an FM station that played metal at all that has 91 as its call numbers. Yeah.
It was really cool. I love finding older vinyl like this that, especially a band that came out back then that neither of us had heard it.
Yeah,
I was like finding
some got by us. I mean,
seriously,
we're old and we did the
and back then our funds were limited, so we could only buy like one or two at a time.
But we spent all our money on records. That was a thing.
I mean, there was many times where I had to make a choice: do I want this album or this album? Because I could only buy one. It sucked.
Yeah.
All right, so favorites on this one. The opening track, Ravage, really good. And I like the House.
Okay.
And then the title track, Rather Death Than False in Faith. And then the last track, Guillotine.
That would seem a mouthful to sing.
I remember Harlequin, the song Harlequin's. I know there's two tracks on here that are kind of lengthy. I know Harlequin's one of them. Is 7 minutes plus.
Yeah.
But definitely recommend it. I know there's another English band called Zentrix.
Yeah.
They were more closer to like I always thought they were like the English Testament, the way we got the thing that sounded like Chuck Billy. These guys are a little different.
Yeah.
And I definitely recommend.
There was a lot of Bay Area worship with some of the UK thrash bands in the later '80s.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
But these guys are a little bit more harsher than
cool.
Eccentric is.
Nice.
So I definitely recommend them. It's one of the pinkest.
Very pink.
Pinkest covers.
How much more pink can it be? You know, it's
how much more pink can thrash be? Hydra Vein.
Nice. Cool.
All right. Up next, we're going to the letter I, and we're going down to the Lone Star State in Texas with the band Imprecation.
Cool.
And this is their. I mean, they have an older release that like compiles like stuff because they were a band from the '90s, and then they reformed within the last 20 years or so.
It's a busy cover.
Absolutely. It's
Very
great.
busy.
It's great art, and it's another one of those ones where it doesn't have the band's logo on the front. You have to go to the back to find the logo up here.
There it is, yeah.
And there's a picture of the band over here and the track listings, and this one's on good old Dark Descent Records.
Dark Descent, yep.
And I believe the album before this, their comeback album, which, shit, I'm trying to think of the name of it. I can't remember the name of it, but they had the album before this.
Someone will remind us in the comments.
And then there's this record, and then they have a newer one, which I don't have. I need to get it. But this one's, I believe that's Latin. Damnatio ad bestias. So it has something to do with damnation and beasts.
Not asbestos.
Yeah.
Nothing about lead-based paints or dangerous.
I mean, these guys are mostly
chemicals.
death metal, but they have a little bit of black metal tendencies.
Right.
But it's mostly death metal, and there's doom to add into the mix, which is great.
Great. Yeah.
And even though he wasn't in the band for a long time, rest in peace, Wes Weaver, because he was a former member of the band that passed away just a few years ago.
Okay.
He was one of the guitarists that used to be in the band.
Yep.
You know, I figured I'd give a mention to Wes.
Cool.
He was in the band Blaspherian. I think that was his more recent band before he had health problems.
Cool.
But this one's in classic black.
Nice.
What I like about this one is that it has like cool stuff on the labels. Like this one's got this like demonic shield black fucking thing going on.
Right.
And then this side's I
don't know what that
trying to
is.
figure out what's going on here.
Something's happening there.
I know. I see.
It's like people falling through a vortex.
Yeah. It's
I
like
show the camera. It's
a
little
like,
strange.
I see like maybe a severed head.
Yeah, maybe.
And I see a sword.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very. It looks like the dude like
Severed head. I see
cut off
that.
his head.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just holding like a flag or something. Yep.
And the hole in the record's the black hole they're all falling through.
Yeah.
I'm going with that.
Something.
Right.
It's very, very chaos.
Yeah.
But
It's like a Morbid Angel thing, like the early Morbid Angel. Yeah, insert.
And then there's an insert as well, and a poster, I believe. So we'll show the poster first. It's 4 paneled ones.
Nice.
Pretty cool. It shows off the artwork of the cover because it's really cool.
Yeah, it is.
And the artwork is from Sebastian Mazura. Mazura?
Yeah.
It mentions it on the credits.
Yep.
On the one side of the insert with some really cool. I love how a lot of bands have the border work. Artworks.
Yeah.
Cool. And on the sides. Lyrics. And then this band
the requisite graveyard shot.
Yeah.
Yep. Gotta have it.
It's just it probably is from the same graveyard as the.
Yeah.
Because it looks like they have the same shirts on.
Cool.
Yeah, it's the same photo session as the back cover.
Yep.
Because they're definitely in a graveyard there too.
Cool. Favorites,
definitely the first song, Temple of the Foul Spirit, Baptized in Satan's Blood.
Fantastic.
There's an instrumental track that I like. It's called Dagger, Thurible, Altar of Death.
Yeah.
And then the final track, The Ageless Ones of None.
Nice.
But it's a great album all together.
Cool.
And I recommend their other 2 albums too. The one before this, which I can't remember the name of.
Yep.
And then the newer one which I've heard tracks from.
Yep.
But I don't have.
Great.
But I love artwork.
I love that art.
I know, seriously.
You can spend a while looking at that.
Seriously, there's a lot of stuff going on. And
Yep.
yeah, there's some nudity and gore and all kinds of demons, all kinds of stuff going on. It reminds me a lot. I'm wondering, I'm going to have to look it up after we do this video. That the guy that does the artwork for Oxygen Destroyer.
Okay.
Very, very, very similar. So I bet you it's the same artist.
Yeah.
But Imprecation.
Nice.
I want to say the Houston area.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. It could be San
I'm just
Antonio.
gonna trust you or whoever corrects you in the comments.
It's definitely it's definitely Texas, but I forget if it's San Antonio or Texas. Oh, Houston.
Okay. Houston, maybe.
I'm pretty sure it's not Dallas.
Okay.
But Imprecation.
Cool. Nice.
this is another older band that Matt's heard of, but he's
Yep.
never actually heard. I mentioned them.
You might think this is crazy too. Let
This
us
is
see.
Morpheus Descends from the New York area.
Yeah.
This is their full-length debut. It's called Ritual of Infinity.
More
It's,
colored.
yeah, it's very bluey.
Yeah.
And it's such a strange art. It's like not a Dan Seagrave type. It's very,
No,
it's
not
very,
exactly.
it's very avant-garde-ish.
Yeah.
And it shows like some kind of like very colorful corpse being like examined,
That guy.
dissected by this weird dude here with the
Or
blue
yellow
hair.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice boobs.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Sure.
it's crazy. But and on the back is the band picture.
Oh, graveyard.
Yeah, the requisite graveyard. And over here is the track listings. And
Crosses are so big.
and this is another one on Dr. Sat in the Crypt.
Okay.
The Crypt is very, very well known for re-releasing stuff, because that's what this is. This is a reissue.
Yeah.
I've seen them recently at good old Ralph's,
I'm glad so many labels are doing this.
and they had like pretty much all their albums on sale on vinyl. So good old me had to buy them all.
Yeah.
I was like, hell yeah. And then the singer on this album, Jeff Reamer, rest in peace, my friend. He's one of the members that has passed on since this album was released back in the early 90s.
Yeah. It's got a gatefold too.
Yes, and this is actually a gatefold too.
Yeah.
And opens up with just like a cool artwork here. And
Yeah.
the liner notes. Actually, it's really not liner notes, it's the credits.
Okay.
And over here's the
Lyrics.
lyrics. So the music. And it's just classic black.
Good inner sleeves, by the way, Mr. Bloom. Very nice. Protect that record.
Yeah. Usually if you see one with this, that means that I've listened to it recently, because I try to put most of my records into one of those now.
Yep.
As you can tell, some of those ones I haven't had a recent listen. Like, shame on me, I should listen to them.
Yeah.
But the labels have the Morpheus Descends logo
Cool.
and the name of the album. No track listing on the label.
Oh,
though,
okay.
So you have to refer to the cover.
Sometimes in the run out, if you don't see it, it'll say A or B.
Yeah,
You find your side that way. I do that
Yeah.
a lot. Or I count the tracks. I'm like, oh, this
Yeah.
one has 4, this one has 5. Look at the back.
I mean, I think it doesn't even tell you what side is which, like you
Yeah.
were saying. Actually, this one does.
Does
It
it?
says it right here at the very
Okay, you got to look carefully.
Yeah, you got to look real carefully for that
Yep,
one.
that happens.
But favorite tracks, I have to mention Submerged and Adiposier. I think that's how you pronounce
Jesus.
it. Adiposier, the crazy fucking medical word.
Yeah.
That's the very first track I heard from, so that has a special fondness and heart for
We're
me.
called track 7.
Yeah, it's track 7.
Right.
But The Way of All Flesh is great.
Cool.
Immortal Coil.
Yeah.
And my favorite track is the title track, Ritual of Infinity.
Cool.
But it's murky death metal. It's not even though it's from New York, it's not similar to Suffocation or Internal Bleeding, where it has a lot of slammy breakdowns like that.
Yep.
It's more just straightforward cavernous death metal.
Cool.
Like one of the originators, like these guys, Immolation,
All right. Yep.
Incantation, that type of
Yep.
death metal.
Cool.
And
Nice.
And I can't recommend it more. And their other albums, even though they never released another full length. The other ones are considered EPs. The Chronicles of the Shadowed Ones and The Horror of the Truth. And then From Blackened Crypts is their most recent one. It's just a 2-song, 7-inch. But Ritual Infinity is classic death metal as far as I'm concerned.
Cool.
Fuck yeah.
Check it out. Nice.
Okay, up next, I mentioned earlier in the video that I wanted to stay local for a couple of releases, and the first one was Churchburn. Well, now we're up to the second one. We've gone to the letter R, and this is the band called Ravage. And this is traditional metal. I know I mentioned to Matt that I wanted to show him a little bit more of traditional metal or thrashy metal.
I did want to mention, I had just heard about this band first through you, but then like 2 days later, I was in a record store.
And he's seen this.
Saw this exact record, and I was like, wait a minute. Eric's going to show me this record. I'm not touching this. I'm not buying it yet. So now I'm
You should be able to maybe get it through Bandcamp, because it's self-released from the band.
Yep.
And this is Bostonian traditional metal, or power metal, if you want to call it.
Okay.
And this is actually a re-recording of their very first release. It was called The Spectral Rider, and this is called Return of the Spectral Rider.
Okay.
Because it was such a limited release.
Yeah.
It's I mean, I have a copy because I've been going to gigs around here for a long time, so I was able to get one from the band.
Yeah.
But it was such a limited release that they wanted more people to be able to hear this material.
Yeah.
So they re-recorded it and self-released it themselves instead of relying on a crappy label like that earlier.
It's good to know that it's a re-record and not a sequel album.
Yeah,
Because the title suggests a sequel of sorts if you know the band.
And
So,
it's pretty cool artwork.
Yeah.
It's almost like almost Bat Out of Hellish, the way the dude's like morphed in with the
Sure, yeah.
the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Coming out of the very, very master of the universe.
Right, Castle Grayskull. I see it.
Absolutely, man.
Even the skull is gray.
Seriously.
So there it is.
Who knows? The artist and the band could be fans of He-Man.
They
There's
could
no problem
be,
with that. I have
right?
no problem with He-Man.
Yeah.
No problem. I mean, I wasn't a fan because we had gotten old by that point.
Right, both of us,
We
yeah.
graduated from the.
We're that old. Right.
Yeah.
But,
And here's
She-Ra,
the back cover's got the track listings and band members, and then there's a couple of band members who are actually in another local band called Seax that I know Matt's mentioned in his programs.
Oh, I have.
In fact, Derek, he's overseas right now playing drums for Gangrene over at
Gangrene, I just found that out.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
crazy.
Derek's over there playing drums for them. It must be an experience going to all the festivals over there playing drums. I know CX has been over there before, so it's not his first foray.
Yeah.
But Ravage. Al's vocals, he doesn't really get really high pitched like CX's Carmine does.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of the lower range, and it has a distinctive sound. So he separates Ravage away from the other bands of the genre, and it's good. Good musicianship. There's two guitarists, and they're both capable of playing leads.
Nice.
So there's the dual leads going on and stuff like that.
Nice.
And it's just good stuff, and they mix it up. They have some thrashy numbers, and they have some like more mid-paced metal songs. Like I'm pretty sure it's The Wicked Way, and might be Wake the Dead. I think of those two like thrashier numbers.
Okay.
So I recommend those, and I definitely recommend the Spectral Rider, the title track.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Dies Irae is instrumental.
Okay.
So you have to wait until Spectral Rider to hear Al singing.
Cool.
And then I know I gave you the download code that came with it, and that comes with 3 extra tracks that are actually on the CD, because I have the CD of this. That's how, because I just recently got this as well on vinyl. I found it on one of my shopping sprees.
He bought a lot of records
Yeah,
this time around.
Yeah. And then and this is old school. It's got the collage here on the insert, which is fucking cool. I always
Gotta have it, yeah.
Seriously, you can see that they had an Iron Maiden tribute band called Iron Malden, which is great.
Okay.
Malden's the name of the town where they're from, right outside of Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on the back, there's a bunch of credits, and they explain how this is the recording of the album and why they did that.
Yeah. Have you heard the original as well?
Yes, I have it on CD.
How would you compare them?
This one's definitely better.
Okay.
Better production.
Yep.
They were able to go to, because there's a number of studios around the Boston and southern New England area that they can record, and a lot of the people that produce albums in this area are part of the scene, so they know how to record metal music. And then the dust cover, I haven't had a chance to actually listen to this on vinyl yet. I just heard it on CD, which is kind of silly that I'm recommending it to you.
It'll work though.
But it's in classic black,
Nice.
and the dust cover has more. It has I believe this is the lyrics on this side and the other side, and it has the album art again.
Cool.
And band photos.
Nice.
And I'm not really sure if that's like a creepy Santa Claus or something.
I'll go with creepy Santa Claus.
I don't know if this fuck's that's going
Show
on.
creepy Santa Claus again.
Yeah, there he is right there. I don't know what's going on with that.
All right.
And over here is the labels. I'm assuming this is probably side A with the band name, but it doesn't tell you.
Yeah.
I don't think there's an A or anything there. Well, you can
Check
see
the
it.
run out.
Yeah, the run out. I can see it.
Yep.
But it's got the Spectral Rider art there in the band logo.
Cool.
And on the back, it's got Castle Grayskull.
Great.
Yep.
They have the power.
Seriously. Yeah, and I think I already mentioned my favorites.
Yes, you did.
So yeah, Ravage from the Boston area. Malden, I believe, is the actual location, which I think is like north, just a little bit north of Boston.
Seems so.
But I've seen
A lot of M towns in Massachusetts.
And then I'm hoping that the festival Matt didn't get a chance to go to it this year. We went
Stormbringer.
Stormbringer. I'm hoping Ravage. I gotta mention it if I see Al at a show, I'm gonna be like, dude, you guys gotta play next year. Yeah, that would be so cool.
They would fit probably.
They absolutely
just from what I'm hearing.
It would absolutely fit in with a Stormbringer type lineup.
Yep.
Ravage.
Cool.
Okay, up next we're going back to death metal. And then we're going to the letter S this time, and going overseas to Germany, Deutschland. And
By
it's-
the way, I hope the person in the comments section of the last video, or 2 videos back, 3 videos, I forgot how many, that said that we should do more than just all death metal or something like that. Yeah, well, we've got some trad metal in here for you.
Yeah, yeah.
So there you go, just
Oh,
for you.
yeah, yeah. Well, here, this is the band Sulphur Aeon or Aeon
I'll go with
from
Aeon.
Germany, and this is their second full length called Gateways to the Anti-Sphere.
Yep,
And this is one where good luck finding the logo anywhere on the cover.
anywhere, right?
This is another gatefold album. It's amazing artwork. I mean,
Yeah.
it's showing like this crazy like tentacle thing coming out of this ocean,
Mhm.
and you can actually see under the ocean there's like these crazy fish things going on down there. But it continues on to the back, and you can see like over here there's like,
little.
and you can see over on this side there's like an upheaval of earth or something, and there's like a couple of fires here, and I'm assuming that those are the things that are summoning these creatures out of the primordial ocean.
Yeah,
It's so Lovecraftian. It was like amazing,
great. Probably it's rough.
and that's totally where Sulphur Aeon's coming from. That one of the coolest Lovecraftian death metal bands going right now, and this is the inside of the gatefold where you can finally find their logo. There it is. With lots of upside down crosses and tentacles and stuff.
Of course.
Which is
That's peanut butter and jelly.
Prerequisite.
Death and taxes.
And over here's the band members, and I'm pretty sure that they just a lot of bands just go by their first letter nowadays. And I think Dead Congregation is another one that just does that. They just go by their first letter. So you what's that? D and T and M.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is their second full length. I believe their first one's called Swallowed by the Ocean's Tide, which I also have on vinyl.
The theme, right?
And then I forget what the EP's called. That's the only material that I don't have from them. I've searched and searched for it. Yep. One of these days I'll get a copy. And then they have another album after this one, the Scythes of Cosmic Chaos. I could be wrong. It's something like that.
Okay.
And then they have a newer one that's coming out later this year. It's like something like 70 Gates and 70 Seals, something like that.
That's a lot of everything.
And they have a song called that too, 70 Gates and 70 Seals, something like that. And this is a double album.
Yep.
Whereas a lot of the gatefolds, it's just a single album.
Yep.
Just a gatefold. It's like the old school 70s albums. A lot of those were gatefold, even though they were just a singular album.
Ted Nugent comes to mind.
And this one comes with a really, really cool booklet, because they've always had really cool art.
Yeah.
Like here's the logo, and there's a crazy like Chaos Necronomicon symbol going on here in the title. And then there's on the back here is the crazy. I'm assuming it's Cthulhu.
Okay.
Because he's got the tentacly face and whatnot.
Sure.
But every page has like lyrics to a song. Like here's the band members again, and like here's the first song, and there's like artwork for each page. And it's just so fucking cool, man.
Cool.
Whoever the artist is like on spot.
Really loving that cover though, especially.
The cover is amazing. Yeah. And the every cover has really cool. Like the first one, the Swallowed one, has like Cthulhu coming out of Rillier, and then the other one, it looks like almost like a fungi from Yuggoth or something out in space and shit. And then it's a double album, so we have, and this one's another colored one. And this one doesn't have anything really.
I thought it was almost going to be black as you said that. It's got a marbled effect in there. It's like a black marble.
If I can hold up the light. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
It's like a dark green
with a black.
Or like blacky, like I think they call that like a galaxy swirl or whatever.
Smoke,
something like that.
Yeah.
And this one, it's really difficult to figure out what album side it's on, because it's just these weird like figurine thingies going on.
Yeah.
So like you said earlier on other albums,
Maybe
you have to
count the tracks.
You got to count the tracks, or look at the run out in
right.
the Matrix. A lot of times they'll have a 1 or a 2.
Yep.
And then same thing.
Yep.
Another dark green, and
labels are similar.
This one has a weird like symbol, and this one's got like almost like a vortex.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you got the etching there.
And then,
side 4.
Yeah, side 4 is an etching. Yep. And it has a similar like chaosish symbol. I don't know if it's showing up, but hopefully it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to refer to this for the track listings, because I don't think it's listed anywhere on the cover. Seriously,
no, you gotta hunt for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's all on one page. No, it's not.
The track listing is the biggest mystery of all here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Devotion to the Cosmic Chaos I liked a lot.
Yep.
And I remember Abyss Hex was really, really good, but I remember the latter song with 70 steps onwards towards Kadith and into the courts of Azathoth. Those three in a row, like amazing songs.
Cool.
But they're wicked Lovecraftian.
Yep.
Like I've mentioned in other Hook Me Up episodes.
Yep.
Lovecraft is a soft spot for me, man.
Yeah. True.
And I'm really looking forward to the new album. And I'd love to find that the EP, like I said earlier, and the album after this one. I'd love to find. I have it on CD, but I'd love to find it on vinyl.
Cool. All right.
Sulphur Aeon.
Awesome.
From Germany. Okay, now we're going on to the letter T. And we're going down to Land Down Under again, like we did in that last episode we did together with Gospel of the Horns.
Yep.
This is Trench Hell with their EP, Southern Cross Ripper. And this is just an EP, like I just mentioned.
Yeah.
And the back cover art with the flying V's and the bullet
guitars,
belts, and
right.
it looks like a spider web.
Yeah. Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of early Razor.
Yeah, okay.
Like their Armed and Dangerous EP.
Yeah.
You know, it's very similar cover art. And I think that was done on
You have a
purpose.
cross guitars tattoo as well.
Yes, I do. Yeah, yeah.
Pretty amazing. Is it right there?
Yeah,
There it is.
There it is. It's kind of faded.
Die Hard.
Yeah, Die Hard.
I love
Just
that.
fucking Venom, dude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with Bruce Willis movies, but I do love those. But how can you go wrong with cover art like this, where it's showing like some crazy psycho dude assaulting a
More boobs.
luscious babe in the alleyway, and he's removing her top.
Yeah. Two
nice,
covers
nice
of boobs.
nice little boobs going on there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this one's a nice, cool, like
I already want to hear it.
I
just want to hear it now.
Nice non-glossy. I love non-glossy.
Yeah, the matte finish is nice.
And I'm pretty sure this is a colored variant.
Okay,
pretty sure
let's
it is.
find out though, because we don't know.
Pretty dang sure it's colored. Yeah, yeah.
Great.
It's like a bone and I don't know.
Evil bone.
Like a brownish bone.
Coffee and bone.
Merge.
Maybe.
But it's got cool things on the labels. It's got the band logo, and it's got this like winged scully thing going on.
Yeah.
And that's on the other side as well.
Yeah.
And this one actually tells you what side it is, so that's a bonus.
Good. Yeah.
And this, I believe this is it? No, it's high roller.
It's high roller. I see the usual
the high roller
little thing there.
The high roller.
There.
High Roller Records catalog.
Get your magnifying glass out.
Yeah. They've
all
released
there, I
so many
guess.
good albums.
Yeah.
Great fucking label.
Yeah, some great reissues. Lots of reissues from that label.
You got the extra thick insert here.
Nice.
It's got band members on this side.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's another picture of the group and credits. There's no lyrics, so you're gonna have to go online to look for that.
Yeah.
And this is like a trad metal band. I was listening to it more recently. It definitely made me think that it would be if Motorhead mated with Celtic Frost.
Okay.
That's what Trench Hell would be. The evil demonic love child of those two groups.
Great.
The guy's voice sounds a lot like Tom. He doesn't do any uhs or hey, but his voice in general definitely sounds like Tom.
Yeah.
But their riffing, their songwriting is definitely up the Motorhead category of style. Well, Tank.
Yeah.
Bands like that. You know.
Gotcha.
And there's a large poster that came with it.
Yeah, nice.
With the great artwork, you know. It's so awesome, man. Boobies. We got the boobies.
Right.
It's just such nice little
I'm
boobs.
12, apparently.
That is absolutely real titties right there. We're not
Right.
looking at fake boobs at all.
No.
You know. But Trench Hell, man, is such a great little EP. I mean, there's only a few songs, and we're gonna have to go into favorites here. Intro Night Stalker is an intro.
Yeah.
But the first track, Southern Cross Rippers, is one of my favorites, absolutely. And the last song, Infernal Screaming? Yep, Infernal Screaming. Those two tracks are my favorites on it.
It's a little bit away-ish, the handwriting.
Absolutely.
It's a little lo-fi.
And I like how each guitar has the little speed metal chaos wheel thing.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Thank you, Canada, for that logo. Right?
But yeah, there you go. Trench Hell from somewhere in Australia. I'm not sure exactly if they're from Sydney or Melbourne or Victoria. I'm not sure which locales they're from, or they could be even from Perth. I'm not sure if they're from Western Australia or not.
Yeah.
But Trench Hell, I definitely recommend them because I know he wanted to recommend some non-death metal stuff.
Right.
Okay, we're still on the letter T. but we're coming back here to the United States, and this is out of all the recommendations that I've given Matt so far in the videos, this is the earliest and oldest album out of the bunch. This is Tsunami with their self-titled album from 1983.
Not Tsunami.
No, it's not. That's Silent T, yo.
Yep.
You know, the deadly tidal wave. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like too, by the way.
It's cool art. I like how it's almost like very sharp edged and
Yep.
whatnot.
Right.
And in the back, it's got the track listings and band photo.
Cool.
A little bit of wear because it is from 1983, so it's a
Yep.
40-year-old album.
This is a great era.
And I'm friends with King's Folly from Deceased, and he does a lot of auctions. And he auctions off T-shirts and vinyl and CDs and whatnot. And,
OG vinyl, mind you.
And this is one of the things I won from him. I won Tsunami, and I actually won Talus too on the same auction. So I got 2 good records that time.
Cool.
But this is their self-titled. I believe they have two other releases in their history. They're from San Francisco.
Okay.
And this is traditional metal. It's almost like it definitely it goes right along with the new wave of British heavy metal. It's got that vibe. And it's in traditional black.
See the Enigma label.
And it's got the Enigma logo on the one side on the label, and then it's got the trash listings.
Cool.
And whoever owned it before put the letter 4.
Enigma was a bit of an enigma because they signed all sorts of bands across the board.
Yeah, I I think Dark Angel. I mean, not Dark Angel.
Death
Angel.
Death Angel.
Were
right.
on them at one point.
Yep.
But I don't. From what I remember listening to this, the singer doesn't really get really screamy like Rob Halford would.
Yeah.
But it's still, he's got a pretty decent voice.
Okay.
And I'd say for favorites, the first track, Firewater, is really good.
Cool.
The Runaround's like a ballady song, but it's really well written.
All right.
And called Off the Dogs. But my 2 favorite tracks are Fade to Black and Face of Death.
Cool.
And Masters of the Night, the closing track's pretty good too.
Okay. So quite a bit of it's pretty good.
But I think you'll like the whole album. It's right up your alley.
Sweet.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I like the traditional metal a lot.
Yep.
So I was like, I gotta. I initially when I picked out 10 albums for this episode, I picked out a bunch of death metal, and I was like, you know what? That's right. I know Matt likes other stuff too.
Yeah, sure.
I gotta tame out I'm still gonna recommend
bring the
death
genres,
metal, but I gotta bring in some other stuff.
Yep. Right on.
And I have an old memory of this too. An old high school friend, Tom Andrus. He had this album back then, and it always intrigued me with the
now you have it.
art. Yep. And now all these years later, I do.
Yep.
Yep. Tsunami.
Great.
From the San Francisco.
Excited about this one. Yeah, for sure.
Right. Yep. Okay. Last but not least, we're on the last album, and we're going to the letter W, like the big W. And then we're going down to Texas again, where Imprecation was from. This is War Master.
Great.
With their one and only full-length album, Pyramids of the Necropolis.
Yeah. I like the spot varnish and the pyramid there.
Yeah, that's excellent art. I love it.
Yeah.
On the back cover, it's got more of the same, a little more of a close-up and a little eyeball thing going on down there.
Now, can I assume from the War Master name that they have a little bit of both throw?
Absolutely.
Right.
In the songwriting and the way they sound, it's definitely like a mid-paced death metal along the lines of those guys.
Yeah.
And I always mention Benediction too, because they're very similar.
Well, legacy bands that influence other bands.
Yeah.
I mean,
and they had, I'm pretty sure they've split up since this album has come out, and they had one other like an EP, like Blood Oath or something like that. It has had blood in the title, and it was just an EP. I got it on CD.
Got it.
And this is classic black.
Yep. He's sure this time.
It totally is. And on the one side, it has the band's logo and the track listings and a nice little skull going on there.
Yeah.
And then I love when albums tell you what speed.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy sometimes. Sometimes I'll be like playing it, like, wait a sec.
Yep.
Is this supposed to be this fast?
Nuclear Blast is occasionally
and then the other
guilty of
side,
omitting
it's
it.
got the little like logo here with skulls and then the little WM for War Master.
Right.
Not William Mathis or something like that.
No.
You know.
The other thing I would have thought of course.
And then this one's got a really large poster. So 6 panels.
Yeah.
It's got the cover art, and it's got cool band photo on the bottom now.
Yeah.
like Imprecation. I'm not totally positive what part of Texas these fellows are from.
Mm-hmm.
But favorites. Wait.
Oh, something's in there.
There's another thing in there.
Something else
There's
is
an
in
insert
there.
nothing on one side, but the other
Right.
side has all
It's like the old
the lyrics.
Noise Records releases for the U.S.
Yeah,
They
blank
put the
on one
records on the
side.
back.
It's got a little art down there in the corner.
Yeah.
It's got some credits over here on the side, but mostly it's all lyrics for the songs.
Well,
For favorites, Mass Cremation. The first track is great.
yep.
Ritualistic Carnage is decent. My favorite is the title track, Pyramids of the Necropolis, and then the last song, Monolith.
Cool.
And then the sharing common with Cannibal Corpse, because Cannibal Corpse has a song called Monolith.
Yep.
That ends there. I believe the Bleeding album.
Hmm.
No, yeah, I think it's the Bleeding. No, it's not the Bleeding. It's the first one that Corpse
You're
Grinder.
more the Cannibal Corpse fan than I am. So
Yeah, it's definitely the first one with Corpse Grinder singing the Vile album.
Okay.
I think that's the one that has Monolith.
Yep.
The last song.
Comments will tell you if you're wrong, but you know.
Yeah, it could be. I could
Sure.
be wrong.
Right.
There's so much. My head's
There's
full
too
of-
much to know sometimes.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely true.
Cool. I will check all of these out.
But I definitely recommend War Mouse stuff from Texas. Excellent death metal from from the Lone Star State.
Yeah. Which is down under from us, but it's not really down under.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Tejas.
Right. Cool. All right, so that's 10 records, 10 more records from Eric's collection that I've got to listen to and see what I think of.
Yeah, I'm hoping that you like all the releases. You know,
Yep.
I noticed on my track record that you've had some okays, but no dislikes.
Yep.
So I've had a pretty good track record so far.
Also, a little more variety here in some
I tried
genres.
to do that. I tried to
Yep.
lessen the death metal and add more
Sure.
traditional metal, and
Yep.
I'm glad I did that.
That'll be cool.
And it's always tough picking 10 albums though, because
Right.
I have a multitude of albums to choose from.
You do. I've seen The Basement alone. Right. But there's music everywhere in this house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So what I'm going to do at this point, we are going to say goodbye to Eric at this point. There's his hand. I'm going to come back in this episode after I listen to all 10 of these records, and I'm going to let you know what I think of each and every one of them. So definitely stick around a little while.
Long live the loud!
All right, I'm back in Vermont and ready to let you know what I think about these albums. So let's do that. Anyway, starting with the third studio album from American Black and Death Doom band Churchburn. This is Genocidal Rite, released in 2021 by Translation Lost Records. So a dissonant and ominous intro leads us to the title track, and as Eric said, the album is definitely sludgy with yelly, distorted, and somewhat blackened vocals. Also some occasional moments of speed, but otherwise sits in a doomy, slow to mid pace. Interesting juxtaposed with some of the melodic soloing in tracks, bringing in some additional mood and melancholy. In fact, that guitar work in particular is what stands out the most for me in these songs, sometimes bringing to mind the slow and driving passages from early Morbid Angel material. Think the B and C albums specifically. The acoustic track about mid-album also breaks things up nicely and contributes to the overall mood of the record. However, the final track, Sin of Angels, is a little basic and sounds more like early demo material than a track meant for a full-length studio album. Anyways, favorites for me are Genocidal Rite, Swallowed by Dust, and especially Scarred. So Eric and I agree on those last two tracks. Anyways, I like this one, but I don't love it. But it's possible that repeated listens might increase my appreciation of it because it is pretty decent death doom, which is a genre that I'm a bit of a fan of. So yeah, let's give this one a like. Next is the third studio album from American death doom band Druid Lord. This is Relics of the Dead, released in 2022 by Hell's Headbangers. So a brief spooky intro opens the title track, which otherwise moves between fast and chaotic and slow groove, with crunching down-tuned guitars, wailing leads, and filthy growls. Even in one track, there's a great deal of riff variety, including tremolo picking, dirgy chords, and straight chugs, but also quite a bit of tempo variety, again, even within the same song. Catching occasional hints of early Paradise Lost, but with a more aggressive and menacing approach, which means maybe throw in a fair amount of Autopsy influence as well. Atmosphere is also provided with the infrequent moments of creepy synths, samples, and similar additions, but certainly not overdone, thankfully. Anyways, favorites here are 13 Days of Death, Immolated into Ashes, and Monarch Macabre. Since Eric and I both chose Immolated into Ashes, maybe check that one out first. Anyways, I was probably ready to give this one a like on track 2, but that didn't change as I went through the album, so this is a very strong like for sure. I might even pick this one up. Next up is the debut studio album from British thrash metal band Hydra Vein. This is Rather Death Than False of Faith, released in 1988 by Metal Other Records. So this is pretty straightaway thrash with certainly a no-frills approach, especially for 1988. Crunchy, distorted guitars putting on some typical but effective thrash riffs, along with drums sitting comfortably in a standard thrash beat, with the occasional roll for fills. Production on this one is substandard and inconsistent, but the music tends to carry things along, so it's not the biggest deal ever. Nice riff variety, bringing to mind hints of a B-grade Slayer in the solos, with the rough style of a band like Rigor Mortis in the main riffing, and even some occasional non-UK European thrash bleeding through. Overall, it's second if not third tier thrash, though catchy and enjoyable at times. Favorites on this one are Rabid, Rather Death Than False of Faith, and Misanthropic. So this is pretty basic thrash, and maybe a few years behind in terms of where the genre went. I likely would have bought this record in 1988, but it might not have been a go-to album for me when I consider the stellar selection of genre releases that year from bands like Violence, Forbidden, and many, many others. As for now, this one is an okay for me, though it has moments of like, but since I can't pick both, let's side with okay. Still, I'd buy this if I ran into it in the wild, but wouldn't want to pay too much for it. Next is the second studio album from American death metal band Imprecation. This is Damnatio Ad Bestias, released in 2019 by Dark Descent Records. So while this is primarily death metal, there are plenty of doom moments throughout, occasionally hammering and blasty bits here and there, though also lots of mid-paced chug and overall guitar tone that borders on war metal, and the record really does seem to move a lot between those two styles and tempos. Of these, I'm feeling the mid to slow tempo moments are more effective and interesting overall. Definitely hearing some bolt thrower wanting to seep through at times, but also some riffs that are pure Morbid Angel. Also getting some brief uses of synths and effects for atmosphere, albeit dark and spooky. Vocals are sufficiently brutal and actually pretty easy to understand in terms of lyrics, which is a plus. Speaking of which, lots of blasphemy in those lyrics, in case you're looking for that. I should mention that Eric was right about the artwork. It's the same guy that did the art for 2 different releases for Oxygen Destroyer. And he also did the logo for Leather Bitch, which is rather interesting. But anyways, yeah, good eye, Eric. Anyways, favorites on this one are Temple of the Foul Spirit, Baptized in Satan's Blood, and Beasts of the Infernal Void. Looks like Eric and I agreed on those first 2, so you should have a good starting point for what to check out. Anyways, I definitely like this one, and not just kinda like, but actually like. Definitely has me curious about their other 2 albums, which I need to check out. So yeah, need to consider getting this one. Next up is the debut studio album from American death metal band Morpheus Descends. This is Ritual of Infinity, originally released in 1992 by JL America. So definitely simple and raw death metal here with crunching riffs and chaotic drums, not to mention some isolated but really cool bass lines. Vocals are deep, guttural, and a bit cavernous, as Eric had mentioned. Production on this one is a bit subpar though, giving the snare a tinny sound as well as some added muddiness to the guitars. Musically though, you've got some catchy and bang-worthy riffs, some fun tremolo solos, some occasional speed moments, a little bit of the groove sometimes, and some blasty brutality to boot. As Eric said, they came out of the New York death metal scene of that time, and you can definitely hear some of that in the music, but I feel if they had gotten the same level of production that Morrisound gave bands like Malevolent or Cannibal or Suffocation, it would have elevated the already decent tracks considerably. Then again, some dig the murkiness, so maybe that's a plus for you. Anyways, favorites are Corpse Under Glass, Trephination, and the title track, the last of which Eric and I both chose and is likely my very favorite on this one. So, despite the not great production, there's still a lot here to enjoy. I do like this one, but I don't love it. But still, it's a solid like. Next is the third studio album from American power speed metal band Ravage. This is Return of the Spectral Rider, released in 2017 by Society for Worldwide Ravage Records. So a nice acoustic and synth instrumental passage quickly leads to the grandeur of power metal riffage, which is nice and heavy. Especially digging the riff trade-offs and solos on this one, but also the vocals, which bring in some heft and swagger, not to mention a little variety between ranges. Eric hinted to it a little bit, but I gotta say the production on this one is really, really good. Lots of decent separation, and the guitar tone is so sweet. Definitely getting some shred here and there as well. In fact, there's little time on this record for stagnancy as it moves along quite nicely. Anyways, favorites for me on this one are Spectral Rider, The Mask of Black Death, and Wake the Dead. So, I haven't heard the original album from which this one was re-recorded, so I can't really compare the production from one to the other, but I'm sure the songwriting was there and likely the performances as well. So yeah, not only is this a strong like, but this is a likely buy. Next up is the second studio album from German blackened death metal band Sulphur Aeon. This is Gateway to the Antisphere, released in 2015 by Van Records. So right away, we're pulled into this album by a very atmospheric intro track to Drown This World that definitely goes along with that cover art. Remaining tracks are consistently brutal and melodic with distorted vocals moving between shout and growl, not to mention dynamic drum work and frenetic guitars. Very tight and certainly technical, but without losing its brutality. Overall, the album does have an almost epic feel to it, albeit dark and atmospheric. I also felt I had to listen to this record closely as there were certain subtle melodies in the tracks that I might not have picked up on in a single listen, so definitely digging the nuances throughout. Anyways, favorites are Devotion to the Cosmic Chaos, Calls from Below, and Onward towards Kadath. Anyways, Eric briefly mentioned that their latest album was upcoming and not out already, which is because I shot that footage before the record was released. So yeah, it's out. But you might have already known that. Regardless, this particular album is fairly immersive, it's relentless, and has some unpredictable moments as well. Definitely a like. Next is the debut EP from Australian blackened speed metal band Trenchhell. This is Southern Cross Ripper, originally released in 2008 by Hell's Headbangers, but now reissued in 2021 by High Roller Records. So we've definitely got some gallopy speed and thrash for the most part, and the Tom Warrior worship in the vocals is pretty damn obvious. I'm not hearing as much of the Motorhead as Eric is, but it's in there a little, maybe. There is a modern blackened speed thing going on with some slight nods to bands like Midnight and Bewitcher, but without actually copying them. Realistically, the blackened thing is really minimal, with this being more of an aggressive and raw speed metal record with strong thrash leanings. But yeah, early Celtic Frost too. Hard to deny that. Anyways, favorites are the title track as well as Infernal Screaming, so Eric and I agree on both this time around. Anyways, yeah, this is a solid like. In fact, I should probably pick this one up because it's a whole lot of fun. Next up is the debut studio album from American hard rock band Tsunami. This is Tsunami, released in 1983 by Enigma Records. So strong Y and T vibes all over this album, notably the heavier end of that band, but this might also get along with some of the lesser-known Sunset Strip bands of the 1980s like Steeler and Malice, which is to say this band does float between hard rock and heavy metal a whole lot. I'd say its melodic catchiness is rooted more in the former, while the lion's share of riffs are considerably more metallic at times. So yeah, riding that line a bit. Not sure I hear the Nawabum that Eric does, as this record sounds very much American to me. The lead work is overall decent, if not at times impressive, so a plus there. And bonus points for the name of the bass player, who's known as Max Load. I mean, that's just amazing. And very 80s. Anyways, favorites are Revenge, Call Off the Dogs, and Face of Death. So certainly a like on this one. I mean, Eric's spot on, right up my alley in a lot of ways, so if I run into this one in a used bin at a record store, I'll likely snag it. It's a good time. Next is the debut studio album from American death metal band War Master. This is Pyramid of the Necropolis, released in 2011 by Torture Garden Pictures Company, which is quite the label name. So even from the first track, you can definitely hear the Bolt Thrower and Benediction influence, as Eric said, and as I suspected, you might have as well. Though not a direct clone of their influences either. There's a lot of tremolo soloing, solid double bass drum work, and pummeling riffs, but also a fair amount of buzzy distortion in the guitars, along with those deep gutturals that you'd expect. Again, a bit of the British, but hints of the Swedish as well. I mean, Grave certainly comes to mind, at least a little in moments, notably in the solos. Anyways, favorites on this one are Mass Cremation, Ritualistic Carnage, and Sadistic Force. Looks like Eric and I agreed on those first two, so maybe check those out first. Anyways, an overall decent record that has me somewhere between like and okay. However, what sends me to the latter is the repetitive riffing, unfortunately. So let's say this is an okay. As for the tally, I'm pretty impressed actually. I mean, 8 likes and 2 okays and no dislikes at all. So good job, Eric. Definitely found out about at least a couple of records I not only like, but would probably even buy. So even better. Of course, I'd like to thank Eric once again for coming on the show and sharing some records from his metal vinyl collection. Always nice to get out and visit the guy, see some shows, and of course, find out about these awesome albums. Speaking of which, what did you think of these? Do you have some favorites from the choices, or maybe other albums from the same bands that you like just a bit more? Let me know about that, as well as anything else that makes sense in the comments below. Love to hear from you. Of course, if you've never been to my channel, you're wondering what it's all about. My name is Matt. This is the Accusation Network, where each and every week I do videos on metal vinyl collecting. Of course, I also cover the subjects of classic and modern metal in general. If you like the sound of that, definitely give this video a like. Also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. And of course, share out my videos with all your friends on social media. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.